boom, here we are going live.
Amazing.
And okay, so, and speaking of cold, I don't know if you've heard about what's happening in the United States right now. So we've got this enormous cold, like winter storm that swept through the entire United States pretty much. So right now, outside of my window, or outside of, well, all outside,
yeah,
I have at least a foot of snow in every direction. And of course, okay, so the week before, okay, so this whole past week, we've been having just a lot of crazy snow, like just insane. But the week before that, we had a lot of snow too. Yeah. So I've had 2 weeks of snow, and it's like compounding on each other. So it's almost too much. It's almost like, be careful what you wish for.
True, yeah.
But anyway, guys, hey, welcome to the Midwest, and welcome to the Midwest. I'm back in my Midwestern home. I'm no longer in Europe. Whenever my guest today, Emma Estrela, she's got a YouTube channel I want everybody to check out. That is an imperative. Check out Emma Estrela on YouTube. We've got the chat room is open. Super chats are on. So if you have any questions for us, we're just going to chat and talk a lot about cold exposure, breath work. Who knows what else is going to come up, but guys, feel free to comment and come in on this conversation. But yeah, where I met Emma actually was, and it feels like in my head, it feels like less than a year ago that we were in Poland at the Wim Hof Method experience. But it's been longer than that. And so, okay, so it's February now. I guess technically it's just a little bit, just a shade over a year ago. You and I were, we led a couple weeks in Poland at the Wim Hof Method experience.
Yeah.
And just had a great time, met a lot of amazing people. And so for those of you guys who have not yet seen Emma's channel, Emma does a channel mostly, it's kind of a vlog, wouldn't you say?
I sort of make it up as I go along. Really. Yeah. Don't put me in a box, don't put me in any labels on me. So I just do how I feel and what I'm presented with at the time. So kind of a vlog, and also kind of just sharing. I mean, I live in a national park here in the UK or in England. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so there's plenty of mountains and lakes and waterfalls. So it's my choice to live here. So yeah, I'm very blessed to be living here. So I just kind of share that on YouTube.
So you live inside of a national park?
Yeah.
That's really, okay. So the way it works here, now I'm sure there are exceptions, but normally we don't let people live in our national parks. Are there a lot of people that live there, or how's that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's small little villages. I mean, the village would have like one street.
Cool.
Basics, it's got your basics, and it's pretty cool. So lots of B&Bs, lots of restaurants and stuff, and one post office, one bakery, a whole lot of cafes and things like that. So it's super cool. Yeah, I really like it, and it's
small really, town type stuff.
Yeah, small town. But I love it though, and there's a few times I go out of town or out of the Lake District and travel around, and I just feel so claustrophobic, and so many people are like in towns and too much choice and things like that. So yeah, I've become really like a hermit, or very kind of it's just so weird, the downsizing, what you get used to, so.
Yeah, I live in a really small town in Indiana, so right in the middle of the United States. We call it flyover country. And so, but because, there's no beaches here, right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, but, the people on the beach, they're the ones that are like photoshopping their Instagram anyway. It's like, seriously, what are you doing, man? But yeah, so I love that. I actually enjoy living in a small town, having nature really close.
Yeah.
And not having to go too far. I do a lot of barefoot walking, and if I have too much concrete in my life, too much cement in my jungle, then that's no good. So yeah.
So I'm like you. I love nature, and it's just been a real healing journey. You know, being here for 5 years and really embodying the nature and feeling good. You know, like a 20-minute walk or just being outside is really, really refreshing. So yeah.
So now speaking of being outside, so this, I got to talk to you guys or teach you about this, because I was talking to this audience not too long ago about van life.
Ah, okay.
And so you're the first, so far, I have never known anybody else to have van life. And so I've watched some of your vlogs, and you got to tell me, okay, so how did this even start? Like what was the impetus of, hey, you know what? Van life. That's what I'm going to do. So how did that begin? Because you've got a really nice van for van life. It's
a tiny van. It's a micro van life. So
maybe
I'm looking to upgrade it. Don't worry. So initially, really weirdly, my journey into so Wim Hof instructor like yourself, and it's just I've been really, really fortunate to be to lead and sort of learn from the originals, you know, like yourself with in Poland and in Spain. So initially a lot of my participants were international. So I was super fortunate, and with my story of being adopted and learning that breathwork can unlock somatic level, cellular level trauma, if you like, because it's all pre-verbal trauma, adoption and the abandonment and everything like that. So breathwork has really helped me with that. So I get flown around the world to give speeches and talks about this newfound kind of healing process for early life trauma. So I was hardly in the UK, probably about every 2 weeks, a month I was in the UK. And my flatmate said to me, oh, what I love about you is that you pay half the rent and you're never here. And I'm like,
oh yeah, there you go.
Whoa, dude. I just thought, okay, I'm going to clamp it with van life. So before I go and get the big monster of the van, I thought I would just dip my toe in with this tiny little micro van. If I like it, then I can.
Okay.
And if I don't, then I just go back into property. So I just dipped my toe in with this little van, just have the advice of people, because normally people buy a great van and then they don't like it and then they have to sell it, depreciate, lose money.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So I just got a little van and really happy with my glamping, and this is so cool. And then it just got no central heating. I got it in October.
There's no heater in it?
No, there's no heater in it.
Oh my God. So you're going around doing all these ice dips, and then you don't have any heat. Okay. All right. Yeah. You so really.
My first winter, because I was in van life in October, so Northern Hemisphere. October is getting cold.
I mean, you guys have some very wintry winters. So okay,
totally. Yeah. So it was my hardcore was 5 days. Sleeping in -6 with the van, so no heating or anything like that. Luckily, the pubs and cafes were open, so I'd warm up, do my internet and stuff in the cafe, and then sort of go back early evening because it was really dark, and then I was like cold exposure for sure during the evening, because it's you're asleep and you're in parasympathetic with cold exposure, so it's really, really good. I woke up. And my metal box was getting colder and colder, warmer outside. So I got out and I thought, I'm going to have to go for a cold dip. And when you're cold and then you're faced with a cold dip, it's the last thing you really, really want to do.
Yeah. So, I hear you. I'm there with you.
So on the 5th day of that, I was just like, I'm so over this. But I went in, and that was the time where I got out and I was burning. The back of my neck was burning, and I actually text him going, I can't believe it. I feel warmer after a cold dip, after being cold for 10 hours. And he goes, yeah, man, thermogenesis and stuff like that. So I was just like, oh,
right.
So pretty cool. So I went back to my van and I thought, stop this. I put because it was when I was wearing less clothes as well, like shorts and stuff, going,
right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I thought, stop this. So I put my Ugg boots on, I wrapped up warm, got my coat, and I was just going into a cafe just to warm up in room temperature, and that was my first appreciation of the warmth. So yeah.
It's amazing, when a person really is a cold trainer, right? So a person that it's not just, hey, I've been doing it for a month or two. No, it's just like, okay, I've made it a part of my life. There is a great appreciation for the warmth.
Yes.
And there is a great respect for the cold.
Yes.
I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that I often get is like whenever, like for instance, this snowstorm hit here in the Midwest. I mean, we're talking about, you know, my Celsius conversion is so bad. This audience has been very patient with me. I think most of my audience is on Celsius. And so they've really been cheering me on, you know, and I keep disappointing, but we're talking like, let's see. Okay. I'm going to do this. Okay. Here it comes. So in Fahrenheit this morning, it was 3 degrees, which means, okay, so let's go ahead and make it easy math. I'll say it was 2 degrees because that's almost the same thing. And then that's -30. And then that would be -15. Okay. I'm going to try. I'm going to see now. I'm going to check it with Google to find out 2 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius.
2 degrees Fahrenheit is equivalent to -16.667 degrees Celsius.
Okay. See, I'm
close.
close.
-15, so that's good.
I'm close, you know? Yeah. Now, first of all, real quick, those of you guys watching, is the chat working? Last time the chat wasn't working, and I thought, man, everybody's normally making a lot more comments at this point. And nobody was making any comments. I was like, geez, I guess they're just really, you know, like they don't have any questions, nothing to say. I'm not getting, of course, I guess if the chat's not working, then I guess I wouldn't see any chat. So I'm checking it out real quick because this crowd is generally pretty talkative. Let's see here. I don't see anything. And let's see, Brandon, if you're watching, you can text me and tell me if the chat's working or not. But anyway, but yeah, one of the things that a lot of times people will say is like, hey, I bet you're outside all the time in this and you're just, you know, you're rolling around. And yes, I am. Okay. And actually right now I feel that, you know, how whenever you've really you might have overdone it a little bit today and you have that little bit of chill right now, that's where I am. Because I've been doing a lot of barefoot in the snow and a lot of just kind of rolling around. And then I was like, well, I need to Brandon, thank you so much. The chat's not working. I don't know how to make the chat work. And then what happened is, let's see, I'm going to try to bear with us, guys. Let's see if there's anything I can do.
Technical glitch.
We're experiencing technical differences. That was an Idiocracy quote. Did you ever see the movie Idiocracy?
No, I haven't. I haven't had a TV for 5 years. So
okay. Okay. So you know what, Emma, I didn't know this about you. So it says action not allowed, according to Brandon. Brandon, thank you so much. I'm glad Brandon. Okay. I don't understand. Okay. Okay. Bear with me because Emma, I want you to be able to answer some questions from the audience. And this audience is actually really cool. See, learn how to do this. I don't want to learn. I just want to do. Make it better. Make it not suck. Hide chat. No, I don't want to hide chat. Curses. Okay. I don't know. Okay. I tell you what.
But I wouldn't know. I'm technically.
Yeah. Emma, would you make this better? Would you fix this for me?
Well, it took me 5 years to get on YouTube. So,
well, okay. So chat for some reason is not working. Guys, I apologize. It says it's for some reason. Let's see. Live chat. All messages are visible. Okay. I think I fixed it. Yeah, if somebody could say something, that would be awesome. And nobody's able to say anything. Great. I'm going to try one more thing. But anyway.
Yeah. So if I feel the thing with the van, so I tried the van, just to see the relationship with it, and then COVID happened.
Oh my God.
So now I'm stuck in a van, and my stuff's all in storage in another country. And all I live is in my little van now, and I'm like out on a little tentacle, and I've been in it for 14 months now.
14 months in your little van, and the plan was just to do that just for a little bit of time.
Yeah, just to see whether I like it or not.
But then the dealerships and all this, I'm sure, are closed, and it's like, sorry, you're stuck in a small van.
Yeah, so it's
wow.
Well, I'm looking to get a bigger van now. I actually like it. I like everything about it. So actually now I'm looking to get a bigger van. But initially, since COVID and not being working and stuff like that,
right.
I can't even go into accommodation even if I wanted to. So it's bad.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I just learned something about you just a second ago.
Yeah.
And we're going to come back to van life because, okay, here's the joke. Before I even get to this, the deeper conversation that I want to have with you now. Okay. Do you remember the Saturday Night Live skit and he said he lives in a van down by the river?
Oh.
Chris Farley? No?
I don't.
No. Okay. So this audience didn't get that the other day either, and so okay. So,
but I do. It's nice. I can live in a van by the river, so that could be me.
Well, anyway. So let's see. I'm gonna see if I can say. I'm gonna see if I can say something on chat. I just smiled to everyone on chat, and before I don't want to get distracted whenever I'm about to ask you stuff, but okay, I'm just not going to mess with it. I'm done messing with the chat. Hopefully it'll magically heal itself. But so I didn't realize you were adopted. That's pretty big. So actually, my son is adopted. My wife and I, we adopted. Oh, hey, Chad is here finally. Okay, cool. The chat here. So anyway, but we adopted our son. And so this is something that is super close to my heart.
Yeah.
And so what you went through, let's talk about your story, because I know some of your story. I didn't know that part of your story, but so I just remember a lot of, I kind of remember the part where Chuck McGee was a part of your story, and what led you a little bit to that.
Yeah.
But what led you to where you are now? I mean, you've been on a journey, and you don't have to give me the long, if you don't want to, but whatever.
There's no taboo with me now, so it is all out there. So,
yeah. So what brought you here?
So I suppose 2015, I had a burnout. So I literally lost my corporate job, got made redundant, split up with my then boyfriend. So I had to downsize in the house and stuff.
Love on the rocks, ain't no surprise, right? And so a lot of things change. Wow, all at once, huh?
Yeah, so he was clinically depressed. So it was really, really hard to be with someone like that and to extract myself safely from that relationship. So I had all the pressure of that. And then I went home for some TLC with my adopted mum, my mum. And I don't know, but I had like a really blazing row with her about my adoption. It came out of nowhere, but I was so angry, so venomous to her. It wasn't the best delivery at all. I was intoxicated, never the right time.
Of course, right? Yeah.
And I woke up in a police holding cell. So boom.
So it did go. It went south really fast. All right.
Tough love.
Yeah.
In that moment of being in the cell, which I didn't think I would ever be in my entire life, but it was a really good wake up call. And actually, in that moment, it was the first time that I stopped being angry and blaming everyone, and I realized that actually it's all about me. Maybe I need to change, because I literally in that moment didn't feel like I could turn to anyone in my life. All my relationships, I felt the shame and the embarrassment, and who can I call to help me? And I was like, oh my God, I've got no one. So I started to look inward on that. So it was a really, really good wake up call. So I decided, what am I going to do in my life? So I came back up to the Lake District, got a new apartment, decided to start my life. My ex moved down, we ended on good terms. and down south, and I was just like, wow, I don't know anyone here, and it's time to start again, time to do things differently. I was asking all these questions because I spoke to my mum about my adoption, because basically it got worse, the plot got thicker, but I'm illegally adopted. So
oh wow.
yeah, and I was born in Brazil, and then the doctor and the nurse signed the birth certificate off to my mum. So according to the law, I'm legally, I'm from my mum. So she was able to take us to the UK to be educated. So it's all good. But because of that, back in the 70s, they were saying a clean break was really good. So my mum chose not to know anything about my birth mum. And at that 5 years ago, I thought that was a real privilege to have that control and that hold over another human being, not to do at least another name or a photo or anything like that. At the time, I was never wanting to look for my parents. I just wanted to know who my nose looked like, what eyebrows I had, those kind of things. And I never really wanted to insult my mum and dismiss her parenting. I was just curious. So it was very, I guess it was very raw, if you like. So I blew up like a 9-year-old back 5 years ago. So when I was here and I was questioning everything, so I was questioning the foundations in my life, decided to, like everything was just everything had just gone pear-shaped. So I listened to the Rich Roll podcast, actually. He was my anchor. And all his stories were super inspiring. Everyone who hit rock bottom all started to go up and really change their life, and then they end up on the Rich Roll podcast saying about their story. So and then one of them was Wim Hof. That was June 2016, and so I listened to Wim speak to Rich Roll, and actually, really weirdly, I had heard of the Iceman 5 years before or whatever, but I didn't think anything. I was like, why would you want to do that? Sit in ice for two.
Right. Yeah.
And I hate the cold water. But actually, listening to his story, there's a lot of things that resonated. About adversity and pain in your life, and then turning to nature to heal. Because I too was going into nature and going for walks and healing, although albeit not as aggressive or as extreme as Wim was at the time. So right. So I just thought I'd try it. I did the push-up exercise and it was amazing. And then I was curious to find out more. So I bought the 10-week course straight away. Got to week 6, because back then there was like a forum where everyone could chat and stuff like that.
Right.
And everyone was saying, wow, everyone could see lights and kaleidoscopes when they were doing the breathwork. And I couldn't see any of that. And I was like, what am I doing? I can't see anything. I don't feel anything.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah. I don't get it or feel it. And then I had some bad news that year with my good friend who had terminal cancer. So I just thought, oh my God. And I felt that I dropped a spinning plate with my friends, kind of neglected my friends because I'd fallen off my perch and I wanted to self-inquire. So I just said, I'm just going to take some time out for me. It doesn't mean I love you any less, but I certainly won't be meeting and socializing as I used to. And then the phone call I got from my friend, I thought she was telling me she's going to have another baby, and then she's telling me that she's got terminal cancer. No way she's getting out of this alive. So I felt extreme guilt and hurt and like sadness. So it was at the time that I remember watching the film Platoon.
Platoon. Okay.
Do you remember that? Remember that? And anyway, at the end, if I'm going to ruin it for everyone, the guy falls on his feet and shouts, "Ah!" Like this.
Right.
Yeah. So I actually wanted the ice water I wanted to be broken in the ice water and hit my rock bottom, and then I could start to go up. So I didn't really romantically come into the Wim Hof method. I love this though. I love this story, and not to mention about desperation and kind of. Self-loathing, if you like. So,
and I think that's, I think that is oftentimes sometimes those are even though they're the worst times of our lives, sometimes it's the best things that ever happened to us, it's interesting, it's, of course, Platoon, of all the movies, it's like, I want that, but there is a certain degree of like almost we're the hero in our own stories, and we need some kind of a And it was interesting. You said that you're looking for that breaking point. You're looking for it.
Yeah.
You know, kind of diving face first into it. So
Totally.
interesting.
So
Interesting.
I turned up in Poland, and on the first day, it was I realized that I was breathing paradoxically. And so for those who don't know, you breathe into your chest, and so when you inhale, your stomach narrows and you get a little bit taller, and you use your shoulders, your auxiliary muscles. So completely the opposite way to you're meant to be breathing. Okay, and I was just like, you know, I was the first in class, and the instructor said, so when you put your hand on your chest and one hand on your belly, and just take a normal breath in, normal breath out, tell me which one is moving more. So and he goes, well, let's just go around the room and just find out. Those on the belly, those on the chest, put your hand up. And I was like,
yeah.
I was the only one, and I was just like,
oh no.
And everyone else then put their hand up because it was the belly, and I was just like, and then I just shouted out, can I swear on YouTube?
That's fine. That's fine.
I was just like, oh my God, so this is where I've been going wrong all my life. And I just started to cry. And so this was 2 hours into the Poland experience that everyone looked at me and go, who the hell is she?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is where I've been going wrong all my life. I had a little mini meltdown because I wasn't breathing correctly. So that afternoon when we did the breath work in our group, I saw my lights, I saw my kaleidoscope, I got the sensations, got the feeling, because I was breathing into the belly.
Starting to breathe appropriately.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So, and then I started to cry again. So after not crying for 10 years of being hard, you know, I was like twice in one day. And then I was like, but I don't know why I'm crying. So it was just a release of emotion. So no, not good or bad. It was just really nice to release it. So
well, just having that release, and this is something, man, you know, I don't know how many times I've been like laying next to another person. We're in a deep breath session and tears just come. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, totally.
And of course, it just so happened to be in a time of your life whenever you were looking for a change, and you know, it's that interrupter. It's that changer that you needed.
Yeah, I mean, I was at pressure point, boiling point, and it was all suppressed in there. So I call it as a little pressure cooker that just needed, you know, the steam to come out.
And Poland is exactly the place to find that. That's the perfect place.
Totally. And my instructor, it was assistant instructor then, was Chuck. Actually, so
Chuck, and so this audience has we've done breathing with Chuck, we've hung out with Chuck, so this audience knows Chuck McGee. If you don't, hey, where you guys been? I mean, he's been on this channel quite a few times. So Chuck and I, we were in the first class over here in the United States to train as instructors, and actually we became instructors in 2016. So that would have been, I think he was the first American to take part in the Poland experience over there. So you've had him on his first year. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did this shake down?
Well, I hated the cold. I was the last one in the waterfall and the first one out, and I'd question everything. I'd sort of tap Chuck's shoulder and go, do we have to do this? You know, because I was questioning everything in life, and he's like, you don't have to do anything. No force. It's, you know, not obliged to. So I just remember standing out watching everyone go in. So I was really like, and then as the day went past, or the days went past, I became that person that no one wanted to partner up with, because I wasn't awkward or anything like that, but I would cry every breathing and I would challenge every cold. It was one of those.
She's the weird girl.
Yeah. Okay. Chuck ended up partnering me, which is really, really nice, because and he kind of like took me under his wing, and then there was a group session. Oh my God. So we did the group session, and the main instructor, Jerome, just said, oh, I'll start the 2 minutes when everyone's in the water. So I remember the circle of guys were all there, and I was just standing there with my towel like this. And then Chuck was the last one, and he goes, come on, Emma, you can do it. And I was the last one in. And then when he says, I'll start the 2 minutes when everyone's in. So all the guys are looking at me, and I reckon they were in there for about 7 minutes in the end before I got my arse in that water and then got back out for the 2 minutes. But they were being so kind and so helpful. They're like, come on, yeah, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. But what they're probably thinking is, hurry up, bitch. It's fucking cold. Like,
right.
Yeah. So, and there was a picture actually, which is in the James Nestor book now. That picture of me, I was next to Chuck in the water like this. Going,
oh, whoa!
So really on it, right? Ironically, that is in the book, and that was like my kind of meltdown moment where I had to be there for the group, but I was just in like cold numbness, if you like. So, but I did it.
Yes.
But the funny thing is, so going back to Chuck, at the last, as you know, the last day you climb the mountain, or that was one of the peaks of the week. And I was like, I knew physically I can climb a mountain. I lived in the mountains and lakes, so the physical aspect was fine. But I hadn't done, albeit I hadn't done it half naked. So but I wasn't challenged by the physical. But I remember at the bottom, everyone was in there doing the horse stance and I was to one side putting on my crampons because it's already snowed, and I just said to Chuck, because the day before we spoke about chakras and purpose of life. I didn't know anything about chakras back then, colors. What the hell? I was like, what's everyone saying? What do you mean chakras? And the purpose of life. And I remember, we have a purpose? Is that like,
nobody told me there's a purpose to this, right?
No one told me there's a purpose, exactly. So I just knocked on like Chuck's shoulders, like I was crying, and I was like, Chuck, can you tell me what my purpose is? Because like, no one's let me know. They just put a hand on the shoulder, like, you'll know when you know. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean? And Chuck just put his hand and just says, Emma, can we talk about it when we get back? We're about to climb a mountain right now. So
that is like, so Chuck.
Okay.
Can we talk? Yeah, the whole purpose of your life. We'll table that for just a little bit of conversation later.
Yeah. So that was it. My defining moment was on the mountain, and I didn't need to ask about my purpose. Yeah. I really found my inner peace, the sereneness. We didn't make it to the top that day because the weather was so bad. So reportedly it was minus 15 degrees and 70 miles per hour wind, and I did it, and I felt strong, and I could have carried it on. The group were getting split, the lost visibility at the back, and every step I made, I was getting stronger and stronger, and the belief and the power I got. My hair was frozen like this. I had white on my eyelashes, but it was the moment that I actually let go. And that was from a sigh. When you go, and you might say, and the whole body just. And that was it. I actually finally let go, and I describe it like my head had been ruling my life, my whole life, and and it put trust in the body, and I was walking forward as one unit, and it was amazing. Yeah. So beautiful. I finally got it on the last day.
Isn't that awesome? So you found the breaking point, and then you walked through it. You were able to actually, and that's the thing with that climb, right? Because like you say, there's a certain degree of the physical aspect of, climbing a mountain. There's the aspect of, hardly any clothes, going up in the mountain. It's, and for most sane people, that's all, it's audacious. It's complete. It's ridiculous. And like you and I both, right? Yeah. Before we were in this world, before, it was a part of our lifestyles. I remember thinking, maybe you can do that. Why would you want to, right? what is the point? Yeah. But there's this whole metaphor, right? Of climbing and getting through and just finding out, whoa, there is more to me than what I thought there was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the fact that at the bottom of the mountain, before you were like, what's the purpose of my life, right? And then you made it to the top, or you didn't actually, but it was so cold that they had to turn back. And I will say that means something, guys. That's something, that's a big deal. If you are actually, we were trying to get you to be challenged in the cold, but we need to turn back now.
Yeah.
But that's really awesome. And then after that, we went
into the cafe, and me being a typical female, I bought 3 jackets, 3 hats. I didn't know what I was going to wear on the top. But it was, and then I turned into army medic mode, and I ended up giving all my jackets away apart from the one that I needed to wear, to all the guys. It's amazing what they fit into when they are feeling cold. I had all the outdoor equipment, all the outdoor jackets, because I live in the mountains, so all my stuff got distributed. And it was Jerome that said to me, "Emma, are you not going to get changed to still have my shorts? So I'm still have my bra and put a zippy top on." And and I was just like, "No, I forgot, like, I'm still wearing shorts, I don't feel cold." And I was like, "Wow, I don't feel cold." And you just, that was,
I'm doing it, right?
And then he just said, "Well, this was a look I've been wanting to see on your face all week." So I was just like, wow, like this. So I was just on a natural high, and it was really, really good. So
and it's this freeing thing for me. It's this, you know, a lot of, I've really been struggling a lot in the past few years to try to crystallize why. You know, of course, you know, we want to be happy. We want to be healthy and strong and all these, you know, all these things. Yeah, but okay, well, is that really just why? And for me, I've recently discovered maybe about myself is it's about being free. It's really freeing myself, you know, from anxiety, from things like that, but also determining that I'm not dependent. And I mean, going back to earlier on in your story, you know, feeling dependent, right? And
totally.
And then realizing you're not.
Like you hold the keys to your own prison, and the door is open. You know, that is sort of like how I describe it. So I was a different person coming back, and I was like, wow, I've been looking at life completely differently. Like I've got life all wrong. So when we went back down the mountain, we actually got to go and one interesting point from that, if I just rewind, is if you don't connect with the water first, or your first ice bath is like you still don't get it, that's okay, because I didn't connect with water. I connected with the mountain walk, and then now
that's a great point
with the water. So don't let that put you off. Maybe, you know, you just need to do it more gradually, or your time will come, or it's another cold exposure. It doesn't have to be the ice bath. So, you know, admit it, you know, be that, stand out from the crowd. Just like, oh, maybe I'll get the connection or that inner peace later. But if you didn't get it, that's okay. You know, you get it the first time, it's fine.
I always say that I was just, usually I'm the dumbest student, but when I get it, I get it. But it takes me usually longer to figure these things out. And man, it took me a long time to get into the cold, you know, and I didn't like it at first at all. I remember taking my first cold shower, and I was like, no, I will just not do this. And now, you know, looking back, you know, I think a lot of times, like you said, if you don't find it on that first try, it doesn't mean it's just not for you. It means maybe there's a different way for you to try it. And I know a lot of people, this, like, whenever it gets really cold, right? It's whenever it's winter time. That's whenever I think I know I get most people reaching out to me about cold training, and they're like, hey, this cold training thing sucks. It's awful. How do you get into this cold? Well, you started in the winter, right? And so for most people, a cold shower in the summertime is a challenge. And it was for me, just a cold shower. And we're talking about almost, maybe a little cooler than room temperature water in the summertime. And that was a huge challenge for me. But here in the States, like where I live, my water, I would say, let's see, it's probably around 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. I'm not going to check the Google what's happened. I'm just going to go with that. That's cold, right?
That's cold. Okay. Do you think an ice bath is intense cold at 4 degrees and below?
4 degrees and below. Okay. Yeah. So here's how I do this. And
normally showers are between 8 and 12 degrees.
8 and 12 degrees. Okay. Maybe I'm starting to think my math is wrong. First of all, you're getting lots of love over here. And I think you've gotten some subs, guys. If you haven't subbed to Emma Estrela, get on over there and sub. Got a lot of people wishing they could go to Poland right now. You guys, you're not alone. You know, the two of us are like, well, it would have been awesome, but it just didn't happen. Let's see here. Let's see. Corey Wellman says, thank you. Yes, never ever force. It's important to do it yourself at your own pace. Commit to it as a lifestyle change, and inevitably you will have all the experiences. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, so true. And that's what I did afterwards. It changed my life, and I made it my life because it's just something that just clicked into place. So when I got back down off the mountain, I was just like, what was I putting off in life I'm going to do now? So one of them, I don't know if you've seen the film, the Camino. So it was, it's a walk from the south of France and the Pyrenees, and you walk straight across the northern Spain to a church called Santiago de Compostela. So that's 900 kilometers.
Wow. Okay.
And I just felt compelled to do that walk straight away. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I had some time off, and I just thought, right, sod it. This is now. So this is happening to me now. So I walked. So the same kit I got, it was in Poland. I literally got off the flight to Poland, spent Christmas in Belgium, and then went down to France. And I just started the journey where I didn't know where I was going. I just need to follow these little yellow arrows, but I just knew it was the right path to be on. And how wonderful is that? And
that is so cool.
And everything I learned in Poland, I digested and applied on the walk. So I walked in shorts for 80% of the time, and it was roughly plus 8 degrees. And I remember this one time that the Spanish guys were just like, we were doing a mountain walk, not so high as Finesco as well, but and everyone was in, like they looked like ninjas. They just had the band, they had waterproof, right. And I turned up in my shorts, and I had a red jacket on. And like,
hey guys, yeah.
And they're like, what the hell, you can't wear that today. So right. It was so cool, because I just said to them, I was a bit shocked because obviously my attire was slightly different, and I was just like, why like this? And they're just like, because and I said, is it illegal? Because I just thought one prison holding cell is enough.
Yeah, you don't want to do that again. Yeah,
I want to do that, and in a foreign country. No,
oh my God, I got a checklist here. Okay, no jail time. Yeah. Good. That'll make it a good trip.
They said it's not illegal, so I said, okay, I'll wear shorts. But what they didn't know is that a week earlier, or 10 days earlier, I was in minus 17 degrees. So plus 8 was positively warm for me.
At that point. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And then secondly, I went dressed how I felt. Like, I didn't advocate my voice to someone else. So that was a real big shift for me, because I wasn't influenced by the group or anything. I stood on my own, and I just said, I added to them, because I had warm gear in my bag. So to have the knowledge that you have a choice.
Yes.
Yeah. So if I get cold, I think I'm adult enough to put some warm gear on. So that's what I said to them. I said, well, you're starting off, like ninjas. If you get cold, you're going to have a miserable day. If I get cold, I've just put some warm gear on and I'll carry on walking. And they just looked at me as if to say, who is she?
She made a good point there. Oh, right.
But I walked off going, wow, I'm responsible for my body and my what I'm capable of, and it's so nice that I didn't give in to the pressure of society and the relationship to their cold.
I think there's so much there, because first of all, you're not doing what you were doing was responsible. It wasn't like you said, hey guys, I'm not going to have any safety precautions at all, right? You weren't being irresponsible. You were saying, listen, if I get cold, I know I'm cold, I can put things on. It wasn't like you're just being stupid. And because, I think you and I, we would definitely both say, hey, don't do the Schnezga hike without a backpack, right? Don't do these cold exposures that you see. There's a reason why you have a safety pack, right?
Yeah.
But so you had that, but at the same time, there's all these social norms, right? Mm-hmm. That we conform to just because they're there. And I gotta say, actually, my neighbor, so I don't really advertise what I do. And so in my neighborhood, I typically try to kind of rein it in, go in my backyard where nobody can see when I'm doing all my, but he somehow found out what I do. And so he texted me, he's like, hey man, I'm disappointed. I'm not seeing you out in your front yard rolling in the snow. I'm like, well, I'm hanging out in the backyard, but part of me is like, okay, I don't want to mess with society, because I know I'm going to have to explain it and all of these things. But the funny thing is, my son, he'll go to school and he always puts his backpack in his, or he always puts his coat in his backpack. Nice. And it's cold out, and everybody's like, "Aren't you cold?" Well, I'm trusting him that he can run from the car to the school. Yeah. And if he wants to put on his coat, he can, But I think a lot of that has been kind of taught. We've been taught not to think for ourselves and not to trust our bodies, not to trust the way you feel. And really, even your whole walk was intuition, right? You were following your intuition. You said, that's what I need to do. That's where I'm going to go. So often we don't listen to ourselves.
Exactly. So, I didn't know. Yeah, exactly. I didn't know why I was there, but it felt right to be there.
I even whenever, like, for instance, when I went out to train for a lot of these things, but specifically early on, when I went out to train to be one of the first instructors, I was like, man, I don't know. And there was this struggle, and I knew what I wanted. So, like, my heart was saying, go do this. Yeah. But so oftentimes we've been kind of programmed, no, you need to, do the 9-to-5er and just kind of do that until you die. And then, all these things. Yeah. So this is awesome. So, okay. So you went through and you did this amazing hike. You've done Poland. You've did the hike. What can happen next?
So I realized in the Camino, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. So when I got back home, I was ready to go back home. Because I've been literally listening to the Rich Roll podcast, and for those who don't know Rich Roll, he was, lawyer, alcoholic, to marathon runner, epic 5, and he's written a book and he does podcasts. So I thought I could run a marathon just because I've been listening to Rich Roll talk about it. So I was no couch potato to a marathon runner by any means, but I decided to enter a marathon. So I felt really good. I felt internally really strong, and I did all the breath work, and I was veins and arches feeling strong, the breath, everything was good. So I thought, I'm gonna enter a marathon, and then the next one was 5 weeks time. I was like, I've got 5 weeks.
That's cool.
And I thought, and I wrote to a guy locally just to say, I've got 5 weeks, training. Can you help me run a marathon? I've done probably 7 miles in my life, and then I was going to do 26 miles. So it would be probably 10K to, I don't know how much it is in kilometers, but
I don't either.
Anyway, the guy just said, don't want to waste your time, don't want to waste your money, but 5 weeks, most people take a year to train for a marathon. Right. And I just thought, he's got a point, because I was going to pay someone to tell me what to do for my body. So it was a really, really good thing. So I thought, okay, no conventional training. I can't build up my running in 5 weeks. But what I can do is build up my breath work. So I did Kundalini yoga, I did Buteyko, obviously the Wim Hof, and I really, really put a lot of emphasis on the push-ups, the high altitude training, the breath holds, the power breathing and stuff like that. So I figured if I just strengthen my nose connection to my diaphragm, all would be well. So they were the key. So yes, I cycled to my marathon, and I ran my first marathon.
So to get there, you're like, I'll take a bicycle. Let's get some exercise. I want to get some exercise before I go do the marathon. Okay, all right.
Yeah, normal. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. And then 5 weeks later, I entered an ultramarathon, and I cycled to my ultramarathon, and I ran my first ultramarathon.
It worked the first time, right? So
totally. I had never run that distance before, so it was 40. I can't remember how many, but 44. It was 58 kilometers.
Yeah.
So I think it's 44 miles or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I didn't know how long that would take me. So I had a waitressing job during that time. And I thought I'd be back for 6 o'clock to start my waitressing job. And at 4 o'clock,
wow. Emma, this is good stuff. It's like, I got to get to work later. So I'll do this ultra marathon. This is the first time in my life.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah.
But in my ultramarathon, I took away. So the ultramarathon, you got fitness, you've got mindset, and you've got nutrition. I took away the nutrition and I took away the fitness, and I ran on mindset, because the day before my ultra marathon, I went on an 18-mile mountain bike ride. So I was knackered. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to test the mindset, because I actually read Casper's book on biohack, the hacking.
Yeah.
And
Mindlift. Yeah.
So I thought, I'm just going to run on the mind. So I cycled there after 18 miles the day before. And I thought I'd just run with determination and and everything like that. So anyway, at 4 o'clock I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to get back from my waitressing job at 6. So I text my boss saying I'm running a bit late, but I'm running as fast as I can. Just as a little
unintended, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just as like, geez, I'm so funny. Yeah. So anyway,
I'm running a bit. I hope.
yeah.
I hope you laughed a little bit when you
So at my checkpoint. But really weirdly, I sped up on my last 2 checkpoints because sideways rain came. I was running in the mountains in the fells. Sideways rain came, and that was when I first realized that made me focus even more and actually run faster, because the sideways rain was a reminder back in Poland where I got my shit together. Ooh. So really weirdly, so that's why I think the cells were reprogrammed to have a positive experience with sideways rain that I can lock in like a top one, and I just ran faster. Couldn't believe it. So
like most people's nightmare was kind of your spinach for Popeye or something.
Yeah, exactly. And the people in front were getting changed in their waterproofs, because I had a backpack with waterproofs and food and stuff like that. And I was like, no, I've got this. Like, I was still in my singlet and my shorts running. But it was really weird how my cells were programmed to a positive experience. So I ran. That's awesome. And then long story short, I was a little bit late for my waitressing. I turned up there probably 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and then I just said to my boss, I'm really sorry. He couldn't believe that I ran an ultra marathon, and he's like, why didn't I tell him? And I'm like, I didn't know I was going to run the ultra marathon, because how can you not know? I did my whole training by waking up in the morning and go, how am I going to train today? What do I feel like? So I gave myself no program, and I gave myself no pressure. So in the morning, I didn't even know where I was going to do the marathon. It was like, how do I feel? How would I feel if I didn't do it? And then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I was running purely on intuition and how my body feels today. So
that's awesome. So sorry I'm late.
Yeah.
I ran like more than 50K a day.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was doing. And I don't know. I'm sure that's the first time you'd ever heard that excuse, probably. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I was there the night before going, okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.
Yeah. So okay. So at this point, you had, Carlin says every boss wants an employee like you. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, seriously, if I were to have an employee call in late or something like that, it's like, that's I gotta hand you something. I can't be too mad, right?
Yeah, I got it.
So what do you do these days? And so eventually. Yeah.
So literally after that story,
a
friend told me, whatever you're doing, you should teach it. So that's how I became a Wim Hof instructor. Yeah. That's
awesome. And then now, when you became a Wim Hof method instructor, was that so at that point? So when did you go?
2017. I became in November. I became a Wim Hof instructor, and then in December I got to teach at Poland as an instructor. So the year before I was the world's worst participant, and then a year later I was there as an assistant next to Chuck and next to all the originals that were there, and I got to I was a week into being an instructor, and I got elevated, I guess, in Poland. And I got to share my experience with the travel experience. So
that is awesome. And so you've been going back every year, it sounds like, ever since then. And then and now you also practice Butsuko.
I did, well, because I suffered from asthma when I was younger, which is I have a theory on that. Maybe it could have been my adoption and the separation, that I felt like the asthma might be linked to a stressor for the first few years of my life, being fight, flight, freeze, adrenals and stuff like that. So I think asthma is an emotional disease, I think. Well, not a disease, but then a physical, because I could walk, I could climb, I was in the army and stuff. So, but I still got triggered, and people said it was a cat allergy or dust mites, but actually I think it's emotional to my mum, unfortunately. So I've been working on that ever since, to build that fragile bridge and be in her, because she was my first trigger. So it's really interesting to unravel and dissect that. So yeah, so that's how I started Buteyko, is to rely less on the drugs, on the Ventolin. So
that's awesome. So okay, so not to pry too deep, but have you been able to get a better relationship?
I can spend more hours in my mum's company now than I did before because of breathing. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is good stuff. Yeah, it's one of those things where I think, I've done a lot of trainings with breath work, and I've learned a lot of techniques, and I've gone to a lot of workshops and sessions and training things, especially doing research for my breathwork book. And it's one of the things that I often see is that there's always a lot of times a person will come and say they believe that this breathing technique or this whatever health practice is going to be the answer to all the problems. And I always try to encourage a person, it's not going to solve all your problems for you, right? That life is still full of stressors. There's still things you have to work out, but it puts you in a state. It's a tool that you can use to put yourself in the right place, psychologically, physiologically, to make the best decisions, right? It was you who started this whole journey deciding, hey, maybe I should take responsibility for my own self, and all these other things you found along the way helped with that. But the thing that I keep hearing in your story is you just kept listening to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. and that's the thing. I think so much. What was it? There's a quote that I read by Noam Chomsky recently. He was talking about how so much of history is written as though it's just these great people do these great things. So we feel like we have to wait for great people in order for great things to happen. And it leaves us in this position where we don't feel like we have any control or any kind of, agency over our own lives. And I think that's the big lie that we oftentimes buy into, wittingly or unwittingly.
Yeah.
And here we are, now, hopefully, and my ears, let's see, when was this? It was sometime in 2019. I was doing the MC for Wim Hof's San Jose thing out, and say it was the Wim Hof experience out there. And my ears, like, I don't know if I damaged my hearing that night, but here I was, we were on stage, 1,000 people, Wim and just some of the other people were all screaming, change the world. Change the world.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if we can all get this kind of mentality, it's like, I can listen to myself. Now, sometimes I'm a total moron, right? And I'll be the first to admit most of the time. No, but the point is, there's a lot of times whenever I have dumb ideas, but I think so oftentimes we only look to those, man, that was dumb. And then we say, boy, I shouldn't trust myself anymore. And the thing is, it takes practice and it takes willingness to listen. And, that's awesome. So I knew parts of this story before we got to talk today. And so it's so nice that we got to talk so that I could listen to the whole story, because it's even better now. It's like I even like it more now. But now, as far as van life goes, let's talk about that real quick, because this hour has blown by.
It's gone super quick. So
I really, and I want to respect your time. But so you're going to be doing van life. You're going to continue this, and right now you're just waiting on a bigger van to become available.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Bigger van available, and just I feel that pendulum in life. I was very materialistic and, you know, spending and everything like that. And it's at the moment it's going really, really minimalistic and back to basics and being really humble. I feel that the pendulum will swing in its new neutral. So right now I'm still just going with the flow of, you know, having that alternative because it just suits me to where I need to be to trust the process to come back into a you know, apartment, a flat, a land, buy, whatever. But right now I feel I still need to have that place for me. Yeah. So I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, as we say in England, not everyone's cup of tea.
We say that here now. Okay, so we just say that. We drink more coffee, I guess. But at the same time, we still say,
but, you know, it's
that's right. That was the funny thing. When we were in Poland, like I couldn't get a cup of coffee that I recognized with my tongue. So my tongue kept on tasting espresso everything. And I was like, don't you guys just have any drip coffee here? No one had drip coffee. I had to go back to the United States. And then I think it's just because we want to have a giant, like a jumbo, everything's huge. It's like, okay, how much do you need? You need this much. Okay, we're going to give you 5 times that. And then you're going to slug it. So, but yeah, what I love about your story, and I'm so glad you got to be on here today because, and I can't wait to continue to watch your story. And that's, guys, make sure to check out her vlog. It's Emma Estrela. And I don't have it in the show notes, but I will include a link to your channel because it's what I'm fascinated in is just where you're going next. What are you doing? So I think that's the fun thing about knowing and getting to know interesting people. So it's been awesome to have you here.
Yeah.
And I wish we had more time, but maybe sometime we'll have to do this again.
Next time. Yeah, I think the main thing is as an instructor now that no matter what pulls you to the Wim Hof method, whether it's fitness, you know, like me with the marathon, whether it's because you want to go through change or whether you kind of face some demons, it's so beautiful, the method, that it's a real 360 to why people want to join. So whatever your reason, you know, if there's no right or wrong and you have that curiosity about yourself, then go ahead and try it and just see where it takes you, you know. So it's really, really nice. It's a very beautiful gift.
And be willing to listen, right? Just be willing to listen to what you have to say. Listen to that intuition and see where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Hey, guys, I want to thank everybody for being here. Thanks so much to Emma. This has been this Friday session so much more fun. Thanks for all the comments. I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to address everybody's comments, but I'm so glad that the chat did start. So, hey, thanks so much for all those comments, guys. Emma, I'm going to close the feed and then I'll start a feed just to have a few chats real quick with you if you've got a minute after this. I do. Hey, Carlin just bought me a cup of Joe. Thank you, Carlin. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. Thanks so much. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Friday. You have a great rest of your Friday night. It's Friday afternoon here, so I've still got a little bit more Friday left. But guys, thanks so much. And check out Emma. All right.